Welcome, everybody, to Justice Served Daily. Appreciate all of you here this evening. And we have a very special guest who is with us. And because of the topic that we're speaking in regards to and what has gone on with her, we are not going to be using her real name, but we will call her Hope. And Hope, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Hope, we want to first of all thank you for being here and for sharing your story with everyone so that people can learn more about this topic and obviously this particular predator as well. So I'm going to go ahead and first bring up my screen so that I can share with everybody the information we're going to be looking at. And let me get this pulled up. And all right, so I want to go ahead and just remind everybody that, Hope is a CSAM survivor, and she is going to speak about what has happened to her from an Indiana predator. And as we said in the description of the video and in the thumbnail, and that we're going to do this here again, this will contain content that you may find disturbing. We are talking about abuse and child sexual abuse material and things that happen. So if this is a topic, we want to just warn you and give you that trigger warning in regards to it. So, and we also want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable, in addition to making sure that Hope knows that we are all here and support her. And we want to be as casual and a good experience here with all of us that we're here to talk about what had happened. So, Hope, are you ready to get started?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what we're going to start with here is we're looking at the federal charges against an Indianapolis, Indiana man. As you can tell, originally these documents were sealed by the Southern District of Indiana federal courts. And that was due to the fact that they were looking into other victims at the time, as well as capturing some other people who were linked to this man. His name is Michael J. Howerton. So we are looking at this documentation for him from the Southern District of Indiana, and we can see the charges of his distribution, receipt of visual depictions, and the dates you'll see will go on there. So that was in 2017, distribution, receipt of visual depictions, 2016, transportation of a minor between February of 2010 through 2012, sexual exploitation of a child between 2010 and 2012, and attempted sexual exploitation of a child between 2013 of July and through the 31st of 2013. So let me click. This shows, I guess I could have clicked on this and it would have been in bigger print for my eyeballs. But I want to point out that as we look at any of these documents here, for everybody who is watching, So when you see the USC code, that is the federal code. That is shows you for federal charges that were made. And you can see here, these were dated for May 23rd of 2019, when he was being charged with all of this. So before we go into, we're going to go through with Hope here with us of the documentation and what happened. Hope is not the only victim from this gentleman, and her bravery is what really helped stop this man continuing his behavior. And actually, before he was fixing to have a plea deal done for him, that would have been just local IMPD charges rather than the federal charges that we had. So, Hope, so why don't we first talk about how you ended up meeting Howerton?
I believe I was about 15 years old. I was looking for just side work, to earn some extra money. I responded to a housekeeping ad, like somebody that like wanted their dogs to be walked and then just to like just straighten up their house because well, my wife's too busy to work and I'm a truck driver and we need somebody to walk the dogs and whatnot.
Okay. And then that ad that he placed, you found on Craigslist, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you're 15 years old, you're looking to try to earn some money. You see the Craigslist ad for housekeeper help, and apply to that ad, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got around Howerton, I know this is when you kind of shared that he then expressed to you at the time that both him and his wife, because he was married and she was in the home, were nudist, correct?
He didn't explain that to me till I'd gotten there. Actually, when we had first talked, he said where he lived, and I kind of said the area I live, and he was like, "Oh, that's right down the street from me." As a matter of fact, my son's girlfriend goes to your school, which she did. As a matter of fact, she was one of the math tutors, like for kids that would have like the student math tutors if you weren't good at math. So that made me feel better. Because his son's girlfriend did go to the school and I did know her.
Yeah. Yeah. And later then, though, he explained to you about, but them being nudist and that they would walk around nude if you would feel comfortable also walking around nude.
Correct.
Okay. And so when was the first indications that his idea of housekeeping was not what your idea of housekeeping was?
When I got there, he gave me like a maid outfit and he would throw dog toys in front of me. What was weird was the house was actually pretty clean in itself. He would throw dog toys and, I would bend down and pick them up. Like he just kind of had things like placed all over the house and on the floors that I would bend down and clean up and whatnot, so to speak.
Yeah. And he was then watching you, viewing you while you did this.
Yes.
Okay. And were you already getting like a really weird vibe while that was going on? I mean,
considering the kind of, just a teenager I was, I guess, not too much because I was naive and he just said like they were nudist and they didn't appreciate clothes he said without saying it, like clothes were almost like offensive to them, because you should be like in the body, like how God created you and whatnot, and free. And
Yeah.
and he would give us alcohol, and so.
Right. So he was giving you alcohol and stuff when you would come over. He would let you drink.
Mhm.
And then he began to ask you to also be nude and walking around because they're nude and walking around, and he wanted you to feel comfortable to be doing the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you're at first feeling uncomfortable because they're both kind of walking around nude. That's not what's normal, but they're like, okay, they're doing that. And so he suddenly starts to have you do that as well.
Yes.
And when that first happened, did he start taking pictures of you right away? Did he do that, or did he wait and on that? How did that kind of
Um,
happen with you, if you remember?
at first, I did not know that there was being any videos taken for the longest time. I mean, it wasn't like for a couple times after that he would just pull out his phone or this little silver camera and take photos. But also, I was not aware that there were already like those little video cameras inside the house anyway.
Okay. Okay. So before we go further into some things that happen, I'm going to go ahead and read off a little bit to you guys of this sealed document that was at the time. So we have Kurt Spivey, who was the person who deposed the information here. He was the master detective with Digital Forensic Unit of the IMPD. And he also was cross designated as the task force assigned to the FBI Violent Crimes Against Children Task Force. He'd have over 25 years of experience in state and federal criminal violations related using high technology and cybercrime, child exploitation, and child pornography. And he has written the search warrants, internet crimes against children cases, and participated in their execution. He goes through what all his training is of working with NetMec, National Crimes Against Children, multiple times, attending classes related to investigating online sexual exploitation of children, and a member of the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, which you'll also guys see referred to as ICAC, and which he also talks about. He includes multiple federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, and he is currently assigned to operate in this capacity. And as this task force member, that is why he was asked to investigate this. So when we go into the information, the affidavit are based on information obtained from his observations and communications that he learned from other law enforcement officers, including IMPD Detective Laura Smith. I'm going to pause right here. Detective Smith was a Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force member who worked with you, Hope, correct?
Yes.
And how was that? I mean, you kind of shared with me, but to kind of share with others that she seemed to be a very kind of motherly type person when she spoke to you,
Yes.
and seemed to make sure you were feeling comfortable with whatever you were sharing.
Yes, very much so. She was amazing.
So, sorry, I have to go near my dog who is bothering me right now. Hold on. Sorry about that. So as we look at this information, that he is talking to Laura Smith and working with Laura Smith, who is working directly with Hope. In this affidavit that he submitted for the purposes of a warrant and criminal complaint, has included each and every fact that they knew. And established probable cause from the Southern District of Indiana, and it was for Michael J. Howerton of Indianapolis, Indiana, and that he committed criminal offenses. So we're going to look at these criminal offenses, and remember, when it says USC, those mean federal cases. If it had the I in front of it, instead of the USC, it would be Indiana State, only state charges. So count 1 was distribution and receipt of visual depictions on or about January of 2017, and that he knowingly distributed child pornography that had been mailed or using any means or facility of interstate foreign commerce, shipped or transported in or affecting interstate or foreign commerce by any means, including a computer, and that he did distribute a sexual explicit image of a prepubescent female child using chat step. We will define what chat step is, guys, here in a minute. And it has that was a violation. Distribution, receipt of visual, again, this is count 2. On July 17th of 2016, he knowingly distributed and received child pornography that had been mailed or using any means, facility, interstate or foreign commerce, shipped or transported it, affecting interstate or foreign commerce by any means, including a computer, and that he did knowingly distribute and receive at least sexually explicit image of a minor with her. I am protecting the identity of other victims here, as well as just some information that that I don't think you guys need to see the words of what they say was shown or was in there. I'm sure that you can imagine that. But she had blank displayed and or engaged in sexual activity with adults using Skype, all of which is a violation. The third count, transportation of a minor on or between February 1st, 2010 and May 19th of 2012 in the Southern District of Indiana and elsewhere, that Michael Howerton transported minor victim 1 in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity with that blank intercourse with minor victim 1. And minor victim 1 is not you, correct, Hope?
Correct.
Okay. Count 4 is sexual exploitation of a child. This is when they knowingly employ, use, persuade, induce, entice, or coerce a minor victim 1 to engage in any sexually explicit conduct for the purpose of producing any visual depictions of such conduct. If such person know or has reason to know that such a visual depiction will be transported or transmitted using any means or facility of interstate or foreign commerce or affecting interstate or foreign commerce or mailed. If the visual depiction was produced or transmitted using material that have been mailed, shipped, or transported, or affecting interstate foreign commerce, using the computer, blah, 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 if such visual depictions had been transported or transported using these means. And again, it's about the solicitation and going in here. Count 5, attempted sexual exploitation of a child. And it tells the law on between July 1st and 2013, 31st, 2013. Michael Howerton did knowingly employ, use, persuade, induce, entice, or coerce, or did attempt to employ, use, persuade, induce, entice, or coerce minor victim 1 to engage in any sexually explicit conduct for the purpose of producing any visual depictions of such conduct. If such person knows or has reason to know that such visual depictions will be transported or transmitted using any means of the facility of interstate foreign commerce or affecting the interstate foreign commerce, that the visual depiction was produced or transmitted using the mail, shipped, or transported. And so actually been transported and transmitted using any means of the interstate commerce, and mailed. So federal and state statutes, this is just showing the federal statutes in which there was violation, which we read because obviously the detective is stating, okay, what they're accusing this person of doing, that's what he was doing to these materials. So that's the federal statute of distribution and receipt. And this is the definition of sexual exploitation of a child and attempted sexual exploitation of a child. Again, to employ, uses, persuades, induce, entices, or coerces any minor to engage in or who have had a minor assist in any other person to engage in or with to basically transport the interstate foreign materials and doing this within the United States. And I'm sorry if I'm going to like brief some of this, guys, because a lot of it is repeat of when it comes to the transmission and things such as that. So for transmitting the materials as well as using the mail whatsoever. And it talks about the transport again, shipping materials, and facilitate interstate and foreign commerce. So transportation of minors. This statute prohibits a person from knowingly transport an individual who has not attained the age of 18 years interested in foreign commerce or at any Commonwealth territory within the United States with the intent to engage in prostitution or in any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with criminal offenses. And then Indiana statutes talks about how Howerton transported minor victim 1. So the child seduction, Indiana state provided that a person at least 18 years of age at this, as is the guardian or adoptive parent, adopted grandparents, custodian, step parents, child at least 16 years of age, but 18 years of age who engage in this. Again, this is what is the Indiana law for what is considered child seduction. Sexual misconduct with a minor. Again, Indiana statute prohibits sexual intercourse, other sexual conduct, and or touching or fondling for the intent to arouse, but between a person who is at least 18 years of age and a child who is 14 or 15 years old. So we have the definitions of items, and you know what? I'm a little concerned that this may have not blacked out everything. Hold on one second. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second because, okay, it did down here. All right. I just want to make sure before I continue that the rest of it's going to be blocked. Sorry about that, guys. And go back. And again, let's kind of bring up as we're going to continue through this to kind of let people know, Hope, the reason that this all ended up coming out in regards to this. Well, let me ask you this question before we go to that part. In addition to when Howerton started to take pictures of you, telling you, okay, well, they're nudists, so this is okay, this type of thing, and serving you alcohol. The other part is that he also was starting to pick you up from school, correct?
Yes, when we like when he first quote unquote hired me, if that's what you want to call it, he had even picked me up from school. He had talked to my parents and just said, that he had a daughter, even though he didn't, that attended the school. So yes.
Okay. And he had started to also have that you would tell your parents that you were at a football game,
Yes.
which he would buy the ticket for the football game so you could show proof to your parents that you had had a football game ticket, but he was taking you with him.
Yes.
Okay. And he did the same thing when it was the night of your homecoming dance, correct?
The homecoming football game. Yes.
Okay. And so he did the same thing. He's doing that so that you can, to help you lie to your parents, because he's going to come and pick you up from school. You're going to be over at his home or whatever, and they believe that you're at a football game.
Yes.
Okay. So the chat step we're going to mention, the chat step is a website. And you guys are going to see different ways that he was communicating, not just to Hope, but to other victims you're going to see information about. And the chat step, though, is a website that's really interesting. Started looking more into that when Hope first brought that forward. And this is really a site that is used for peer-to-peer pedophiles, that it's easy for them to share. And you can see that basically it is a website that allows users to create or enter an online chat room, but the users can chat with each other using a nickname, or they can totally be anonymous. And the user does not need to have an account to use Chat Step, but a user can create an account for photo sharing features and private messenger. And Chat Step functions just using the internet. So there isn't something, fancy and stuff from that, but this is a communication that was considered a peer-to-peer communication in sharing images, videos, and that sort of thing. So had you ever seen anything like that that you recall? Any type of chat step thing, or that website in particular?
No, I honestly did not.
Okay. Okay. So the other thing that they're defining again here for the court to know is that he used Skype. Skype obviously is way more popular even now than it was back then, but it is basically providing you video chat and voice calls between computers, tablets, mobile devices, the Xbox One console, and smartwatches via the internet. I want to point that out because for parents who don't know, if your kids have the Xbox, you need to be aware of this information. You may not know that your kid, first of all, that is very common used among people who have CSAM and try to start grooming kids because they play games with them online. And you may not know it, but Skype is a feature was a feature on the Xbox One. So again, it also provides instant messaging. Users can transmit text, video, audio, and images. And this is obviously over the internet. They use that. They're able to use a microphone, a video using a webcam, and by instant messaging. So let me, oh, now come on now. Click. There it goes. All right. So in the investigation portion of this, Michael Howerton was a resident in the Southern District. He was born in 1963. It describes what minor victim one represents a female who was born in 1995. Any other descriptions? Again, I'm trying to protect the other victims who are being talked about here. So I will not be giving away information that would cause that person to be exposed. The minor pseudonym for minor victim 2 represents a female who was born in 1992, and she met Howerton online when she was 15 years old. And Hope, you are who is classified as victim 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I am not, I want everybody to know that I'm just not outing Hope right now. We have talked about this many, for a while before she came on. And that also, because of her bravery of what she did, it's going to say what victim 2 did in the information here, that made this arrest and federal charges possible. So that's why it would be obvious to you as she talks about it that she was considered victim 2 and labeled as that. But we're going to call her survivor. She's the survivor. And then minor victim 3 represents a female who was born in 2006. So you guys can see as far as the age range of who they're dealing with as victims that he was dealing with and bothering. So the case overview is that it began in 2017 as an investigation into internet activities of Howerton. And then a search warrant was served on him in May of 2018. And Howerton was distributing and receiving child pornography through an online application called ChatStep. And Howerton was arrested and charged in Marion County, Indiana, which is the county for Indianapolis. And while that case, and this is what I guys want you to realize here, while that case was pending, police received information that Howerton had engaged in additional illegal conduct with children. And so law enforcement officers resumed the investigation in 2019. So, Hope, do you want to kind of talk about that part? Because that's kind of what you come in and how you found out what was going on, and then what your actions and stuff were that you did that started this expansion of this investigation.
Yeah, so at that time, he would still contact me here and there with really, just like strange things. At one point, even sending a photo of myself when they had taken me to the nudist camp. I know that's in the affidavit too. And I don't know, like then it went from that to, I don't know, like I know that I saw him one time like drive around my neighborhood and things just got weird. And I called him one day and just to say, hey, like what's going on? Like, what do you need? Usually I would ignore his phone calls and either I'd called back or I'd picked up the phone that day. I don't remember which one it was. And I don't know, like it was just really strange. And he was just talking about how depressed he was and whatever. And I didn't really care. And I don't know what it was, but for whatever reason, because I assumed like maybe they were just like losing their house or something like that. Because this is before I knew how in depth and whatnot. So I just looked it up on case search and I saw those child charges and my mouth dropped. But I don't know why it dropped because, by that point, I'd grown up a little bit. And I knew that he had children living with him,
Yeah.
after some point. And I remember a specific incident, me and we'll just say somebody close to him because we were around the same age. We're staying there, hanging out and stuff. And she was a friend. We were around the same age and I don't know, like we saw something blinking in the vents. I'll never forget that. We saw something blinking in the vents. And I don't know, so I just decided to be like, you know what? I'm going to call, because I was really worried about that it was the two, the two friends that I had that we will just say were very close to them. And that's eventually, I didn't want to give my name, and then eventually I did. And that's when they decided to look through all the other boxes, and that's what they found, what they did.
So he's still contacting you. You're receiving, all of a sudden out of the blue, you would get messages that he is sending you back photos of you dressed in stuff, photos of you, maybe not dressed, maybe partially not dressed or something.
Partially not dressed, and then some undressed, because even though we were minors, believe it or not, guys, like, this does exist. We have nudist camps here, where children of any age, and it's sad, it's really sick, just walk around naked. So a lot of the photos were like it'll describe like me standing like by a tree, and but you grow up, and then you look back, and let's not forget, everybody, like, I just want to let everybody know. So I was not a good teenager. For God's sake, by the time I was 21 years old, I wasn't out drinking. I was in rehab, recovering from heroin addiction. A lot of that led me down a bad path. But you grow up, and then you get clear-headed, and you look back and you think, okay, some of this wasn't right, because this was still an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want everybody to know that as many times as I've talked to Hope, and I will do this forever, because I've told her that she is now my forever friend, and that I respect her bravery for doing what she did and surviving what she went through. That it does not matter what activity or whether a kid is doing something or not doing something. It was the adults who are supposed to know better and not encourage a teenager by giving them alcohol and trying to persuade them to do things or that. And that, like, a lot of people will feel like it's their fault, and it's not. It's Howerton's fault, and she knows that, but it doesn't matter of what was going on, because Hope, no matter what, you survived all of that. You were brave, and you came forward, that revealed and helped the victims who you helped identify and prevent this man continuing his just disgusting, evil behavior that he had. So I want to point out, because I know that Hope wants to make sure people hear this as well. And you guys will also see some information in the papers that we're going to go through. But so, because Howerton and his wife were nudists, there were nudist camps in Indiana that they would go to. And in these nudist camps, they, and I can't say that all of them do. I know that the two they mention in here, which you guys will see, but they allow children to walk around nude. Now, they say that they are not supposed to be taking pictures, images, or anything like that. But the point is to make that they allowed somebody to bring children who are not their own, such as Hope, obviously, is not their child, but attended the nudist camp with them. And we find out, unbeknownst to anyone at the time, including the victim's mother, who is found out later after they looked through these materials, that Howerton was having cameras and video cameras out while he was at the nudist camps, filming little girls walking around nude, correct? Hope? Yes. And could you see those cameras or devices, or were they like inside the vehicle, or how did that
Are you asking about his house or when he was at the camp?
when you were at the camp? Was there anything that you could notice that he had set up like a camera or anything like that, or did you not see
No, not that I could have ever noticed. I mean, I recall him having his phone out, but a lot of people had their phones out and they were doing what they were supposed to do, not be taking photos, I assume. But I was not aware of that at that time. Like, he was, um, it, it- so it was never known to me the time that I was there that that's what they were doing.
right?
Well, except me. Let me take that back. Except me.
Yeah, right.
But I didn't see anything, because I knew about it. But not as far as like little girls or.
Yep, yep. So, as we look in this a little bit further, so the Detective Smith believed that Howerton um, has not only involved in trafficking in child pornography, which they showed the federal violation of that, but that also he had been transporting a minor across state lines for illegal sexual activity. They show the violation code for that, a federal code, and that he was engaged in the sexual exploitation and attempted sexual exploitation of a child in violation. So these are what um, Detective Smith, again, who is the Internet Crimes Against Children task force member who worked with Hope. So this talks about, so I want to make sure that everybody understands that. So this guy, and you were, by the way, I want to point out, Hope, by this point, you were already an adult when he was still sending these images to you, correct?
Yes.
You were already had hit 18, but now he's still trying to communicate with you. He's still trying to send you this stuff from back then. He's still bothering you, at least in that manner, continuously. And so you find out, so this is Hope finding out that all of a sudden there are other charges that came up that were not victim one, victim two, and victim three that we are talking about right here. The other charges came from NetMec, who had said that somebody was transporting images and stuff to it, and it was Howerton. So when you see that the police came and he was arrested in Marion County, that was those charges. But Hope found out that he had been arrested and what those charges for. And Hope knew this happened to me. And now I'm worried, did it happen to any of the other um, girls who were around that she knew who was around at the time around him? And so she was brave enough to come forward and say, this happened to me, and literally says, I'm worried it happened to some other girls. And if she would have not done this, this would have not gone to federal cases, and what happened to some of these other girls wouldn't happen. So I just, again, want to point out the amount of respect and bravery that I believe Hope has. And if you guys believe that Hope was very brave about that, let me see all the hearts go for Hope in the chat, for she knows how brave that we all know that she is for standing up and to do this. Because I know that you guys all with me are amazed by her and would love to share hearts with her in the comments. So, and they're all different colors, Hope. They're beautiful.
Aw, I can't see them, but that's
Well,
sweet.
well, later, if you watch back, you can see all the hearts that are going crazy right now because they
Aw.
are. So Detective Smith receives the cyber tip, tells the cyber tip number from the NetMec. That alerts the law enforcement of exploitation of children on the internet. And they talk about what NetMech is. I know you guys know for this group, very important. I have their cyber tip line going across the bottom. Again, if you know of someone that this is happening to, if you know of seeing somebody who has CSAM, Hope will tell you, do not send that to anybody. Do not forward that to anybody to say this is what I got, because that is immediately considered CSAM material. And notify by the cybertip.org or notify the hotline from NetMech, and they will get in touch with your local police. If it is happening to you, you can hopefully get some hope from Hope here, who came forward and spoke up to tell her truth and what was going on and what was happening. So when they came forward and saw this, and the detective saw this information from that National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, that's what started it. They talk about the cyber tip line. They talk about the chat step. Okay, so here's the website everybody thought was safe. If you are a person looking at anybody under the age of 18 years old, you are looking at CSAM. If you are sharing it with anybody, you are transferring child pornography. And if you think the chat step was going to be a safe website to share images and stuff like that, even back then, chat step reported you. And if you use an app or you use something and you transport it, we're going to find you. We're going to see that you do it. And we're going to get your ass and all your sick friends who are doing the same damn thing. So that's just a little notation from me. Sorry about that. But ChatStep reported it to NetMech. And then they said the screen user for that had a name of Kels, Kels, uploaded an image while inside this ChatStep room. And the room was called Little, Little. That was done on January 22nd of 2017. So this information was provided by NetMech to the local authorities. And they got the information on which IP address uploaded this image, right? So because they have the IP address, we can find your damn computer. Okay, we can know which computer you're using. And the Detective Smith reviewed the uploaded file, described the uploaded file, and that was a close-up image of a prepubescent female. And they traced the IP address to the image that was distributed to Michael Howerton in his residence in Indianapolis, Indiana. So in 2018 of May, the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force executed the search warrant on his house, where him and his wife lived. They were inside the residence. They advised him of his rights, and he agreed to speak with them. And they recorded and videotaped the interview. And it did advise that he had a laptop and a tablet, which were in his office directly next to his bedroom. He provided passcodes to his cell phones and email account. And they have his email accounts that he had. And he was advised during the interview that he often visited chat sites. And he shared with them, well, I'm a nudist. And that he said he often engages in conversation in chat rooms regarding nudist activities, is what he was starting to tell them. So during the interview, Detective Smith learned that a thumb drive was located in the right side of the desk drawer of Howerton's office. So Sergeant Barnes of the Indiana State Police located images, pornography, on this thumb drive. And when they asked, how did he get these images, he admitted that he had several images and videos of children which were sexually explicit. And during this interview, IMPD asked Howerton if he, I'll just use the word satisfied himself to the images, which he advised that he did. He said that he would receive links from other persons, which would lead him to collect these sexually explicit images of children. And he admitted that he also sent some of the hyperlinks containing those sexually explicit images of children to other people. So, in a way that they try to get around it is you're going to send you a link. This is the best way that I can describe it for some of the stuff that I've seen. So if any of you have had kids who go to school and they have photos taken, and nowadays they don't send the photos home to you like in this big envelope and then you decide which one you're going to purchase because they already printed out everything. Now they send you the information and they send you a special code. So you would go to this particular link and then you're going to enter a particular code because that restricted code is only going to show you the images of your child, right? They're only going to show what pictures you can purchase from your child. So this is important because that's also the way that works. So they will share stuff with each other. They will image that and they make sure, okay, well, I'm going to send you this link or I'm going to send you this link. And that way, that's the only way that you get in there and see those. So Howerton was showed by Detective Smith the original NetMech file about ChatStep. First, he's saying like he doesn't remember going in the chat room. He didn't remember the specific room. But when he was shown the image of the cyber tip, then he said that it looked familiar. And then he didn't deny that the image was uploaded from his IP address. And it had been one, and he had been the one to do that. So IMPD had advised him that sexually explicit images of children were found and that on Howerton's laptop computer appeared to have been received or sent via Skype conversations. And they talk about his username, which he liked to use nudist in his actual name for those. And he advised that the username was one that he had used in the past and that the 8222 was an 18-wheeler truck number that he had had. So that brings us to the point that we'll ask with Hope to share with us. So Howerton was also had his own business and he was a semi-truck driver, correct?
Correct.
And he would go and travel and he was going like, far out from Indiana, right? Like he was going to Texas and a bunch of different places like that.
Yeah, it would be when he owned his own, it was Texas and I believe Arkansas.
Yeah. Yeah. And so were you aware back then that he was traveling and taking victim one with him?
Yes, I was. And because we'll just say, see, I gotta watch what I say. Somebody that they had care over.
Okay.
I didn't think anything of it because she couldn't just be there by herself and they were nudist. But because it was not somebody like me, it was somebody that they had that they were responsible for.
Okay.
Without saying the relation. Yeah. But I did know, yes.
So now did he travel away a lot?
I think I have this correctly. So when it was the Texas, I think that would be 5-day trip, if I have that correctly. I can't remember if it was Texas or Arkansas, where it would be a week trip, then off for 4 days. Maybe it was the Arkansas that was a 5-day trip, and then like 3 days off. But yeah, weekly or bi-weekly.
Okay. And I know we saw stuff like Michigan was kind of part of a place he would go to, and those are just what are revealed that we know, because he could travel wherever, obviously. He
Right.
could,
So when he lost the rig, as he would call it, that's when it would be more like places like Illinois and Michigan, um, and whatnot.
okay. And when um he would come back and stuff, at that time he was telling you about a prostitute. Well, let me say it this way. He called her a prostitute. She was a 15-year-old prostitute, correct?
Correct.
And he would tell you about that he would go see her, and that he had a name that he called her. She was named something he called her. That was Pocahontas, correct? Uh-oh.
Sorry, I
No,
didn't realize I saw. But yes, that was her name. And then can I just clarify something
sure.
really quick? So if I would have been a grown adult thinking that that was okay, that would have been a problem. I was also 15, 16 years old myself.
Right. Right.
And so I'm thinking, okay, well, I live this lifestyle. I do whatever I want, whenever I want to do. I'm not thinking anything of, as sad as it is at that time, I'm not thinking anything of her being her age. Obviously, that's sick. She's a baby,
Right.
a baby. So
Right.
was I, and just at that time, that is why I did not think anything of it, because I thought I was grown, and if you're 15, I figured you were grown too.
Right.
Just at that time.
Right. Well, and he also is telling you this stuff, I'm sure, because that's part of his grooming, right? He wants you to know that, there's a 15-year-old in I don't remember, was she in Texas or was she someplace else?
That was Texas.
Okay.
No, it was either Texas or Arkansas for sure. But I
Okay.
do think it was Texas. It's in the affidavit. I think
Okay,
Texas.
we'll see that one. And that was some that, he also could be telling you that so that he's making you feel okay that you're just getting pictures and stuff taken, you know what I mean? And but he's doing this, right? He's going
Well,
to see this lady.
but not only that, like he would talk about like when I think he kind of did it more as like, oh, see, like you're safe with me, you kind of think, because like he would talk about when the cops, I guess, in that lot, the truck stop would come and start to raid the girls, that she would hide in his truck, and then sometimes overnight, like he would keep her money and her belongings for her, because that's how much he was trusted.
Right. Right. So we'll also know that when he was doing this. Now, I think you learned this. I think after the fact, or in some type of evidence about the 8-year-old. Correct?
That he had became obsessed with her as he was, yes, but he would talk about it. I believe that would be victim number 4. He would talk about her, and I had met her at the nudist camp, but it wasn't till things were found out in my much later years that I realized the extent.
Okay. And the person, there was an 8-year-old basically that he would travel to go create sexual abuse on, but the mother was the one offering that child.
Right, but this is not the little girl at the nudist camp.
Right.
I didn't find that out till his federal plea hearing.
Okay. Okay. All right. So when they do the on-scene examination of the laptop, they video located during this on-scene examination of Howerton's laptop includes videos that depicted, among other things, an adult male, prepubescent female. Again, you guys don't want to hear the details in that, but you can imagine. There was also an adult female that was in with images that they found on this laptop with a prepubescent female child. Are you okay, Hope?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm okay. It's just gross. Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
I'm here with you. We're all here with you. We are all supporting you. We know you're brave.
I'm all right.
Hold on 1 second. Gotta get my dog out of here. Hold on. Go. Only when I go live does my dog need my attention. That's the only time. Okay. On the scene examination of the thumb drive, images located on the drive found Howerton's desk drawer, included images of prepubescent females. Some of the children in the images appeared to be between the ages of 6 years old and 8 years old, guys. This, it just kills you. Filing of state charges. Based on the above information, Michael Howerton was charged in Marion County Superior Court with child exploitation and possession of child pornography under cause number. And then you can see the Indiana cause number. So then it goes into the very specifics of the investigation. That on 2019, Marion County Deputy Prosecutor received the phone call from an adult female who will be referred to herein as minor victim, aka survivor 2, because this is Hope. Minor victim 2 reported that Howerton photographed her when she was a minor, and she provided the names of other minors who also may have been involved. So let me move this down so I can read this here. Okay. Based on the information received from minor victim 2 and information received from an individual identified as minor victim 1, Detective Smith and forensic examiners reviewed physical evidence that had been seized in 2018 and was currently in the IMPD property room. Detective Smith and this affiant now believe that there is probable cause that Michael Howerton not only received and distributed and possessed child pornography in 2017 and 2018, original state allegations, but that Howerton also used and attempted to use minor victim 1, minor victim 2, and minor victim 3 to create sexually explicit images of minors, and he transported minor victim 1 from Indiana into other states with the intention of engaging minor victim 1 in illegal sexual activity. Reinitiation of the investigation. After speaking to the deputy prosecutor on August 24th of 2019, minor victim 2 contacted a female identified within this affidavit as minor victim 1, directing minor victim 1 to call Detective Smith. So this talks about the first interview of minor victim 1 on April 26, 2019. Detective Smith met with minor victim 1, identity known to law enforcement. Minor victim 1 reported that she had been told by her mother, witness 1, that Howerton had a pending investigation and that minor victim 1 is now an adult. And she indicated that she had worked over the years to forget a lot of things that Howerton did to her. And I know from this is that minor victim 1 was obviously sexually abused and traveled to be sexually abused and stuff as well. So that's how we can all understand that this poor young woman was trying to just forget everything that happened to her, as you guys can imagine. It's just unbelievable. But minor victim 1 became an adult in February of 2013. And then minor victim 1, I am blocking out stuff to protect her identity or anything that can indicate her. Howerton and his wife, she was 15 years old at the end of 2010. By the time that victim 1, she had been sexually abused by at least 2 other people. Now, these other people, if I'm understanding this, Hope, these other people, they abused her before she even ever got to Howerton, correct?
Correct. They were mom's boyfriends, which is why those people, well, part of the reason why, we'll just call them those people, um, had her, because you go through all that, and of course you're going to be like, quote unquote, what people would look like as a problem child per se, and that's why the Howertons had her. Yeah.
So, right. And that was just horrible that they took advantage of her when she had already had stuff that had happened to her before. And Hope,
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
We're okay. You okay with me?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Good?
It's just shitty. Crappy. Sorry.
I know. It's okay. I cuss all the time when I get mad here. It's all right. It's all right. So minor victim 1, younger sister, who is a witness 2, also went to the Howertons residence. So victim 1's little sister also had went to the Howertons. Now, this resident that is located in the Southern District of Indiana, aka Indianapolis, where the search warrant was executed in 2018, and this is where the child pornography was found on Howerton's devices. So minor victim 1 reported that when she knew Howerton, he was an over-the-road truck driver, and he delivered items to Texas and Michigan. Minor victim 1 went on road trips with Howerton. Minor victim 1 reported that while making these interstate trips with Howerton, he made sexual advances towards her. And while she was in Arkansas with Howerton during a road trip, Howerton engaged in sexual abuse of minor victim 1. And minor victim 1 believed that Howerton engaged in sexual explicit conduct with her approximately 11 to 12 times before she was even 16 years old, which would have been February of 2011. Minor victim 1 believed that all sexual activity occurred in the semi-truck on the road. She described the vehicle as his red semi-truck with Howerton on it. Minor victim 1 had specific recollection of Howerton patronizing a female prostitute named Pocahontas in Arkansas. Remember, guys, Pocahontas was 15 years old in Arkansas. So she wasn't a prostitute, like he wanted to say. She was being sexually abused. We all know the reality of this. We know the reality. Minor victim 1 reported that she told her mother and she told Howerton's wife. So victim 1 told her mother and Howerton's wife about the incident. In a subsequent interview with minor victim 1's mother, the mother denied that minor victim 1 told her about the sexual contact, which is heartbreaking as parents to hear that kind of stuff. So minor victim 1, Howerton's wife, and Howerton would walk around the house nude. They told her that they would be willing to turn off the cameras inside of the house if minor victim 1 also wanted to be nude. Minor victim 1 reported that when she was in Arkansas, Howerton mentioned photographs, but she could not recall if he ever took any images of her. Minor victim 1 told her mother that she felt like she was being watched. She described that he had cameras in his living room, hallways, and a blinking red light in the vent in the bathroom. And Hope, that's the light you were talking about, correct? Is the blinking light, you kept seeing a blinking light in a vent, correct? And you thought it was a camera.
Right, but the ones that that I saw was in the bedroom.
Okay, you saw the blinking light in the bedroom.
Yes.
Okay. Minor victim 1 said that she knew that Howerton had cameras in the living room, by the front door, and outside of the hot tub. The Howertons had a bedroom that was used as a computer room. And once, while minor victim 1 and went into the computer room to see what was there, she said she found the cameras were connected to a television that was on top of a dresser in the closet. Minor victim 1 was unable to figure out how to turn them off and left it alone. Corroboration of minor victim 1's account in the 2012 report. Minor victim 1 reported that she and her mother filed a police report in 2012 regarding Howerton. Minor victim 1 said she also told the police in 2012 about the cameras. And minor victim 1 said that she and her sister, which is witness 2, found emails that Howerton had sent to others discussing his sexual activity with minor victim 1 and witness 2. In 2012, minor victim 1 got into Howerton's email and changed the password. She said that she saw emails where Howerton told another male that he was teaching minor victim 1 and her sister how to shave. After they found the emails and told the police in 2012, minor victim 1 blank, Detective Smith located that report, which was made to IMPD on September 18th of 2012. The report was taken by an officer, and he received a run of the report of this attempt of child molestation, and that he was told by minor victim 1 and witness 2 that blank had sent explicit emails to an unknown subject about sexual exploits he claimed to have and had with both female minors. They reported that they observed hundreds of emails of Howerton talking to unknown people, talking about having sex with minors, including minor victim 1 and witness 2. The girl's mother, witness 1, reported that Howerton has cameras throughout his home and possibly films juveniles while they're in the shower and in his hot tub. The mother reported that Howerton also has inappropriate pictures of juvenile females on his cellular phone. Witness 1 printed the conversations for police, but was told by the officers to hold on to this evidence. In reviewing IMPD case management notes, it appears as though the case was referred to cybercrimes, but there was no further information related to the investigation or follow-up. Minor victim 1 said that her mother printed the emails and may possibly still have them. As of the writing of this affidavit, neither minor victim 1 nor her mother have located these printed emails. They contacted IMPD to report this child molestation in 2012. It was referred to, and there's no record on follow-up. Hope, what year did you contact? Do you remember what year you contacted them to tell them about the additional people when you saw this first arrest in Indianapolis?
Oh, maybe 18 or 19, because I think he was sentenced in 20. Maybe early 19. But I think he had already had the state charges for over a year before I was aware of those.
Right. Right. Because it took, yeah, because it was 1 year they had the report, then they
He
waited.
was right about to take a plea for state.
Right. So he was, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you contacted them, he was having these are just state charges. They had nothing to do with you guys. It was nothing about your guys' case. Had nothing to do with the 2012 report that the mother and minor victim 1 and witness 2 said was happening. It was because of other victims of stuff that's in there. So when you called, they were making a deal, a plea deal with him, and he was going to only serve 3 years with that deal, correct?
Yeah, 3 or 4. And I'm just being honest. So when I first saw the state charges, because at this time, I didn't know about a lot of stuff. Of course.
Right.
To be honest with you, like, what I'm thinking is like, well, like, what the hell heck were you doing? Looking up barely legal and gotta not, like, because I do remember him typing that in a lot, like barely legal. So I'm thinking like barely legal. Like, I'm thinking of, even though it's still gross, like the Girls Gone Wild, stuff like that.
Right.
Um, but I don't know, like, something just didn't sit right, because I still kept thinking about victim 1, especially. Um, and I even remember back in the day, um, like when they had care of her, um, you got to keep in mind, because me being a kid myself, I don't have the knowledge I do now of the red flags, because
Right.
I'm a kid myself and I'm all about myself, of course. Um, but looking back, I mean, even looking back, like when I called, I just knew. And I say this I don't mean like this in a nasty way or a bad way, but I mean, for him, well, him and his wife, I'll call out his wife too, because when I promise you, she knew everything. She knew everything.
And his wife never got charged or ever got arrested.
No, and she knew everything. Because that was, see, I got to be careful what I say. Victim 1 was actually supposed to be her responsibility. I'll leave it at that.
Right. So, as we look more into this, they talk about that the relationship to minor victim 2, minor victim 1 reported that she met minor victim 2, who is you, at Howerton's house. Minor victim 1 that said until recently she hadn't spoke to minor victim 2 since she was 17 years old. However, the other night, minor victim 2 called minor victim 1 about the investigation and provided Detective Smith's cellular phone to contact. Minor victim 1 said that she did not really know minor victim 2 and that she only knew her as a friend of the Howertons. She believed that minor victim 2 was 15 years old when minor victim 2 was at the house. And minor victim 2 also, talks about the collaboration now of minor victim 1 by minor victim 2. Minor victim 2 was the individual who initially identified minor victim 1. She told Detective Smith that minor victim 1, blank, 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 Howerton and his wife. Minor victim 2 knew the minor victim 1 went on trips with Howerton because he was an over the road trucker. Minor victim 1 and Howerton both told minor victim 2 about minor victim 1 riding naked in the truck and about his activities with a prostitute named Pocahontas. Remember, guys, that prostitute, so-called, is a 15-year-old he's abusing. Minor victim 2 said that she knew there were cameras in the house and she was concerned about what may have happened to other minor females that minor victim 2 identified. Images of minor victim 1 was able to provide Detective Smith with images of herself when she was 15 years old, including an image of her sitting in Howerton's semi-truck, provided images of the city of Dallas that she took when she was traveling with Howerton. She provided images of herself that were taken in April of 2011 when she was 16. And then minor victim 1 indicated they were taken when she was traveling interstate with Howerton and during that time when he was engaged in sexually explicit conduct with her. Victimization of victim 2. Detective Smith conducted a series of interviews with victim 2, known to law enforcement. Minor victim 2 initially did not want to provide her full name. However, she was very, 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 very brave. And she ultimately told Detective Smith her name and met in person with Detective Smith. And it was minor victim 2 who put minor victim 1 into contact with Detective Smith. Minor victim 2 relayed the following information over the course of these interviews. Minor victim 2 turned 18 years of age in 2010. Minor victim 2 reported that she met Howerton when she was 15 years old by responding to a Craigslist ad that was posted by Howerton for a maid job. She went to Howerton's house on Cole Street, and it was apparent from minor victim 2 that Howerton was not actually interested in house cleaning, but rather he wanted minor victim 2 to dress up as a maid and pick up items off of his floor or living room floor. She said that while she would act like a maid, bending over to pick up dog toys that Howerton tossed onto the floor, he would use a silver camera to take images of her. Sometimes minor victim 2 would wear lingerie that he provided or that she was completely nude. She advised that she wasn't really there to clean, and Howerton paid her or provided her alcohol each time that she acted as a maid at his house. Minor victim 2 reported that Howerton often picked her up from her high school. Minor victim 2 reported that when she was a minor child, she went with Howerton to nudist camps, including one near Bloomington, Indiana. She said that Howerton was fixated on a little girl named C, first name known to law enforcement. Photos of minor victim 2 reported that Howerton took images of her approximately 50 times while at his residence. And Howerton had a massage table in the back room where he would have minor victim 2 lay on as he took photographs while she was nude. Howerton took a nude image of her when she was 17, old, standing next to a tree. That's the one, Hope, that you said was physically at the nudist camp, correct?
Correct.
Okay. She said about 1 year ago, Howerton sent her the image of her standing next to that tree via Facebook Messenger. After her first in-person interview, Detective Smith, minor victim 2, was able to review her Facebook Messenger messages and located the conversations with Howerton. The dates for the Facebook Messenger appeared to be from 2016 and 2017. In September 2016, Howerton told minor victim 2, yes, I need to see boobs from lots of girls, and tell all of your female friends to help make this old man's day, and give them my number. Tell them to text boobs to me. In one conversation, Howerton asked minor victim 2 if she knew anybody that would do light housekeeping nude. When asked about how much to pay, he said, what do you think would be a fair amount? And noted, plus it depends on how naughty she wants to be. On March 31st of 2017, Howerton wrote, does the second photo look familiar? Howerton sent several images to minor victim 2. One of those images showed minor victim 2 in a maid uniform. Detective Smith recognized the background of that image, which matched the inside of Howerton's residence from previous videos which had been identified, including the distinctive rug. The other images were sexually explicit images of minor victim 2. However, at that time that these sexual explicit images were created, minor victim 2 was at least 18 years old. Corroboration of minor victim 2 from Howerton's messages, the Facebook messages, corroborate minor victim's 2 account of Howerton's use of minor victim 2 as a nude maid. Corroboration of minor victim 2 from Howerton's messages, the Facebook message minor victim 2 account of Howerton's use of minor victim 2 as the nude maid. Howerton referenced that he had been a long time since he had seen minor victim 2 naked. And in June of 2017, Howerton asked minor victim 2 what day she wanted to clean naked. Electronic evidence shows that on April of 2019, they went to the property room that IMPD had from the previous first cases, guys. So the previous first cases that they were charging for on a local state level, they went into the IMPD's evidence room because all of the evidence and films and stuff of what happened to Hope and to the other victims that she helped was in those materials that they already had in there. So this is when in 2018 that they got these. So the property list, which was unsecure, had been examined. Those items included an HP Photo Smart camera, VHS tapes, an adapter, another Panasonic VHS tape, and a Samsung tablet. Browse of the Indiana State Police advised Detective Smith that during the execution of the search warrant in May of 2018, Bards made a carving in the SD card from the HP Photo Smart camera. The Smotocart camera, Barnes examined the camera located inside. It contained, among other recordings, the following recordings. They had an unknown female recording of Howerton, and the female appeared to be made by using a digital camera to record of another video screen. In other words, the recording found on the SD card is a recording of another recording. The original recording depicted a female and Howerton. The female in the video wore opaque lingerie and appeared to have light to medium colored hair. It fell past her shoulders. The timestamp on the original recording itself is distorted. The video of Howerton, an unknown female, shows a rug from the room where the recording was made. Detective Smith described the rug as a beige and brown rug with stripes on both sides, with Southwest-style markings and a large longhorn cattle image in the center. Videos of child pornography on the SD card had to be made while using digital cameras and recordings on computer screen off of another device. 27 videos all show prepubescent minors. A VHS tape labeled VHS tape number 5 contained other things inside Howerton's living room and kitchen. Videos from the Ponderosa Sun Club nudist camp in Roselawn, Indiana, and as an unknown person talking to the camera showing the inside of an unknown residence. Hope, did you go to both of these nudist? Did he take you to both these nudist camps?
No.
Okay.
Nope,
So
it was just the one of them.
you went to the one in.
Sorry, that's my daughter in the background. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
No,
That's a Bloomington location you went to. Okay. So we have the VHS tape number 6, contained audio recording clips. Howerton speaking in the background as he discussed a Craigslist ad. Because of the nature of the conversation, Smith believed that the recording had captured a phone conversation between Howerton and another person. He spoke in the recording about massages. He provided his email account and asked for pictures, saying that he had another girl over and said she had flat out lied about everything. And she said that she was petite and tiny, and she shows up and was not the size indicated. That is not what we like. We are more into petite size girls. A recording depicting sexual activity appeared of two sexual activity. There is no other information to identify those individuals. Video showing the inside of Howerton's living room on the laptop computer. Also reviewed a video of minor victim 2 located in Howerton's laptop, shows Maud Howerton and minor victim 2 in a hot tub. The video appeared to have been made while both were unaware, as Howerton was inside the resident structure. The video minor victim 2 only. The date on this video shows May 9th of 2009, when minor victim 2 was only 16 years old. So now we get to video of minor victim 3. We haven't talked about this one yet. Located under the file folder Pics 2, and its subfolders called Me. It included a video of two female pubescent minors walking outside. One of the minors is completely naked while the other is only wearing shorts. It appears as though the video is recorded from inside of a building or a residence, and two minor females do not appear to be aware that they are being filmed. The person recording kept the girls in the recording, particularly minor victim 3, as the girls walked. This video appeared to have been recorded at a campground. Skype conversation were also retrieved from the laptop computer. They were engaged in a chat with other Skype users using screen names that Affiant believes belong to Howerton based on admissions he made in 2018. As you can tell, it has the nudist 8222, which was the number of his semi-truck. Talked about a girl with whom, however, had sexual contact. He shared a photo and wrote that she was 15. And Howerton said that there was also a 12-year-old who was his friend's daughter. The correspondent minor victim 2 account, she had been told that the reason that minor victim 1 with Howerton was because minor victim 1, again, I'm not going to share anything that would help identify anybody for minor other victims. Howerton said that the child's name was Kimmy, and that he would still, this is not the name of minor victim 1, and there is no evidence that minor victim 1 had any contact with Howerton in 2016. He said, however, that he had been with Kimmy at least 20 times, and that he also had sex with a 15-year-old. Oh, hold on one second, guys. I need to check this message really quick. Please give me a moment. Sorry, guys. I apologize. One moment. Okay. The image which was distributed in 2016 was an image of a minor victim 2. Howerton and the other Skype users shared and distributed sexually explicit of minors with adults. Later in the conversation, Howerton discussed his preference. Explicit images, and he told other Skype users, not so young, okay, and that was interested in a girl, in girls who were 9 to 13 years old was his preference. On July 18th of 2016, Howerton, using the screen name Wolfman8222, chatted with, who represented that she was 12 years old. Howerton asked if she had bikini or no pictures and was asking to be a naked waitress at a party that he wanted to throw. And Howerton responded, very cute. I like that. Laptop examination also revealed other folders containing sexually explicit items. Minor victim 2, one of the folders was labeled Pics 5 with a subfolder name with the first name of minor victim 2. The folder contains sexually explicit images of minor victim 2. 2 images of the victim 2 were taken when minor victim 2 was 15 years old. However, those 2 images are described as minor victim 2. The image of minor victim 2 dressed in maid uniform was also in the folder that showed the date of April 2009, which was taken when minor victim 2 was 16 years old. So possession of visual depictions, as you can tell, there was lots of information. Talks about the identification of these people. She would show them to the witnesses and show the different videos and show them in the different rooms, and they would identify the room. And if you could tell, look at how this guy had been doing it so long, guys. His materials were on VHS tapes and then on flash drives. So that just tells you the range of how long he'd been having this material. They were showing minor victim 1 screenshots. Minor victim 1 identified a screenshot on VHS tape number 6 in Howerton's living room. And then they showed minor victim 1 the screenshot of a video which depicted a female that tells you which devices. Minor victim 1 said she wasn't sure if that was her. And as we go further, they showed this information and stuff down to actually minor victim 1's mother, and she identified that that was of her daughter from the evidence. Then the again, each item electronic and identifying who they were, when they were taken, where they were taken in the house. That they observed cameras above the front entry door facing the living room. The angle of the camera would be consistent with the angle which observed in the recording of Howerton and a female in his living room found on the photo camera. This is a picture of the evidence that shows the camera that was set up at the front door that would shine into the living room itself. And if the next picture is that where Detective Smith recognized the distinction cattle rug that's in the image of the VHS recording. And as you can tell, this is the rug that they described as the Longhorn cattle photo. Detective Smith reviewed the entire video from the sewing, and she compared it to female in the video to known images of minor victim 1 at the time at her age. And based on that facial structure and her hair color and length, Detective Smith believes that that female is Howerton is minor victim 1. And let me hear, I'm going to click right out of this just for a second. Hold on one second, guys. Hope, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I think when I went to go grab up my daughter, I think my face hit the exit screen or something, and then it disconnected me. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I thought maybe I knew said your daughter was nearby, so I wanted to, give you a minute, and then I thought I need to click out though to see if you were on that screen. So I just wanted to give you a minute there from that. So no problems at all. So, referring back to the video of the 2 girls walking, Detective Smith investigated the identity of the child in the video, having interviewed minor victim 2 and learned about the child C, in whom Howerton was interested. Detective Smith researched the first name and provided through the laptop evidence. He observed a Facebook search performed by Howerton matching the same first name of the victim C, guys. But redacted, but they knew who the name was, and a query that the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles revealed C is still even a minor who lived in Evansville, Indiana. The video appeared to have been shot in a campground with golf carts. The next file of Howerton's wife showering outside their campground on the front porch. Also located an image which showed what the front porch looks like, including the shower area of the front porch. Further search of Howerton's laptop revealed Craigslist ads posted by Howerton in Bloomington, Indiana, such as family incest and orgy needing females and couples, and searches for Fern Hill Nudist Resort in Bloomington, Indiana. And that is the nudist resort that they took Hope to, correct?
Yeah. Yes, that was correct. Yes.
Okay. And so the search was performed on Howerton's laptop in 2017, included the searches of Bloomington school calendars. This is going to mess you guys up. Listen, you won't believe it. So he was interested in this person, this child called C, that in Bloomington, Indiana, right? So he has this video cameras of it. So he starts looking the Bloomington school calendars to search when spring break was in 2017 for Bloomington, Indiana. So Officer Brown, FBI, located C and set up an interview with C on May 14th of 2019. Remember, she's still a minor. So when she was interviewed at Holly's house in Evansville, Indiana, by a forensic child interviewer, C reported that she did visit Fern Hill Club, and she recalled Michael Howerton and his wife and identified their RV camper from an image. So she told the interviewers that she recalled that Howerton was forced out of the camp because he was inappropriate with kids there. And she said that Howerton would set up crafts, etc., on the campgrounds and described that he always wanted to be around the kids. And C was shown a screenshot from a video of the two females walking through the campground. And C said that she remembered the female children and was able to identify them by their first name and the name of their mother. So Detective Smith contacted C's mother and obtained the name and contact information for the mother of the children that C identified. On May 16th of 2019, Detective Smith was granted a search warrant for the Fern Hills Club, which is the nudist camp in Bloomington, Indiana. So Detective Smith executed that search warrant. They met with the representative and they produced several documents that included information that the Howertons had been there and how they paid, and several complaints that had been filed by other residents that were there, and that the locations, they showed where the location of where the camper of the Howertons had been when they were there. So Detective Smith is able to confirm that the background of that rec center and the road, which was labeled Tobacco Road and Circle Drive, matched the background of the video of the girls located on Howerton's laptop. So handwritten records showed that individuals where Howerton and them had visited between July of 2013 and September of 2013. And after leaving Fern Hill, Detective Smith spoke with another of the suspected minor children in the video, and the mother identified Howerton and his camper from a printed image and said that she recalled that her family went to that club, and that Detective Smith showed a screenshot image of the video to the mother, and she could not identify the minor females from the printed image. However, Detective Smith showed her the video, and the mother identified the naked minor female, who would be minor victim 3, who was either 6 or 7 years old at the time that minor victim 3 was filmed in the state of nudity. So minor victim 3, Hope, that is a person that you guys shared that he seemed to be obsessed with, correct?
So at that time, like when I was giving the statement, so he would talk about C a lot, like oh, I've known her since she's a baby. I'm going to teach her how to go swimming. A lot of things like that. And then I kind of would like to give a background story on their thing with wanting to almost come across. So like, and this is how I found out, basically, long story short, he wasn't gross. This is even a gross word to say. Sexually attracted and teenagers and stuff like that. He would like kind of like record us and then use it to trade off for smaller children. I didn't find that out till much later. Um, so they were an older couple. So anybody that did not know the background story or anything of how they were, other than being nudists at the time, would just think that they were like some just so nice, couple that didn't have kids together, if that makes sense.
Right. Right.
Not that I'm saying that that's how they are, because that's not how they are.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so
So the mother of the minor victim 3 didn't have any clue that he had photos or
no,
camera picture.
no,
Nothing. She never even knew that any of this happened.
no, because they were what you would call, and even looking back, like I can even tell, like they were what you would call, so to speak, like the real nudists that go to that camp for not those nasty things.
Yeah. They just believed in being nude. So yeah. So she doesn't. So with the mother victim 3 personal from that Fern Hills Club said that the rules of the club were clear when it came to contact with children, and it would not have been permitted for Howerton to record minor victim 3 or any other child who was not his child. Additionally, Howerton possessed many sexually explicit images of prepubescent females who appeared to be in the same age range as minor victim 3. Howerton would have no legitimate purpose for recording minor victim 3. So basically, after this point, guys, now it just goes straight to the evidence, which is, what we know and what we've seen. So Howerton has these accounts on Facebook, Craigslist, Yahoo, Skype accounts. They see the information. Craigslist was included in several posts, which were made by Howerton in order for him to basically say, I need housework or whatever. During the investigation, though, they posted several times requesting a single female, or they wanted a single mom to get into the nudist lifestyle. And the ads for a female wishing to provide full nude or full body massages. So in May, June, and July of 2016, Howerton posted this. I seek any sexy girl, thin and loves nudity. Females only, no guys. So in 2016, he posts, I'm seeking a sexy thin girl to come to do light erotic housekeeping, fully nude, and entertain me. It does pay. I seek any ages under 30, as long as you're tiny and thin, mainly on weekends. Please reply with pics and info and any questions you may have. In a Craigslist ad he posted in 2018, he posted, we are long-term nudist couple looking for a female roommate, has nothing to do with sex of any of that nature. We just don't want a male roommate, as a female should be okay with open nudity and possibly join. If so, it has it one child emphasis added by Effiant can be okay. But no more than that. Contact us. Room furnished. You have access to the whole house, a private backyard, swimming pool, hot tub. We are also asking for rent of $350 plus 1/3 of utilities, and you help keep the house clean. This ad posted while Howerton was out on bond from the original Marion County arrest for child exploitation and possession of child pornography. He also had a prior conviction in 1992 where a 9-year-old female accused Howerton of fondling and exposing his penis to her. Howerton was charged with child molestation under cause number blah, 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 which he pled guilty to, and he just got a B misdemeanor for that.
And that was his own actual biological child. Some things I found out while I was talking to the detective, like that one. And then some things like that I didn't find out to until, I don't know if anybody's ever like been through a federal plea hearing. It's like a small, I would, it's more like a small state bench trial. Like if anybody's ever, just been in a little bit of trouble, like, you just take a little, like your county little state plea. It's, done and over in 20 minutes. The federal one is so not like that. I think it lasted about 2.5 to 3 hours. So a lot of that was found out. And of course he's okay with open nudity. So would his wife be, because there were cameras all over the house and she knew about it. And I'm sorry I'm sitting here getting mad, but I am.
No, that's okay. I want you to get mad. We're all mad. We're all mad for you. We're mad for you. Trust me. We are all mad for you. That he had a misdemeanor charge back early on. And then he turns around and, again, that if you were not brave enough to stand up, he was only looking at a plea deal for those charges with them not knowing all the rest that he had done back with you guys and the other victims you pointed out, because they were going to give him a deal that would have been 3 to 4 years. And he was already on bond, and he's placing more Craigslist ad asking for a roommate, and they're hoping it would be a single mom who has a girl child.
Yeah, I about, like me and one of the other victims, when we're hearing all this, like we just keep looking at each other, and like, as strange as it sounds, as strange as it sounds, like even some things came to a shock to us. And I mean, one thing that came to me as a shock is when it came to her, because even when all that stuff came out, I didn't know the in-depth of that. And her and I are still, I wouldn't say we're close friends, but, like we talk occasionally on social media, whatnot. But
yeah.
And man, even when I was that age, if she would have told me that stuff, I would have known that that was not okay.
Right.
So that's maybe like where some of my guilt comes from. But I bet that he turned around and told her to, go ahead and tell her. She's not going to believe you. She just won't want to be your friend. Like that kind of crap. Because we were teenagers. And what's weird is like sitting here listening to it. And I know that I've talked to you about it before, but just like sitting here, just listening to it. I mean, I always knew it sounded crazy and gross, but it's always made me mad. But it really does just sound freaking. He's sneaky. He's baffling. And his wife knew about it all. And he was so sneaky. I'll never forget the look he gave me when he walked inside that federal courtroom. And I'll never forget the judge telling him it wasn't so much the crime that shocked him. You got to keep in mind, I believe even that prosecutor, or I'm sorry, I know the prosecutor that was like the Jared Fogle guy's prosecutor, but I remember the judge saying it wasn't so much the crime per se that shocked him. He was like, Mr. Howerton, I've seen a lot. But he goes, this is one of the most bizarre things that I've ever heard. And and he was good, like not in a good way, but he was good at manipulating. Above your average, good, where parents believed him, neighbors of children believed them.
Yep. Because hiding in plain sight, right? Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, because if you just would have looked at them, and she And if anybody wonders why I keep bringing her up, it was because she knew, they knew she knew. But as far as her electronics went, they were clean and they planned it that way. Let's just call it what it is. I was around her. I knew, she knew. And I think that's one of the only reasons why victim one was even in that care.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but
No, I want you to. I want you to share what this is, because I think a lot of people think that, you know, that this kind of stuff can happen to somebody else or happen to somebody else's family, or that, you know, what CSAM really is, and what CSAM really very much can lead to, right? Like that CSAM is the extreme exploitation of children, that it is a sign that children can be being sexually abused, or raped or trafficked, like victim one, who victim one had all of this going on. And when they came forward trying to tell her about it, she was sitting here talking about how she was just trying to get over it, trying to not remember anymore.
that was one of the reasons, like, why I had called them, because, like, at that time, I'm thinking, like, yes, I knew about them, like, her being naked and drunk and stuff like that, but I was around when I was just, like, thinking they were nudists, because, like, it's not like they just said it, like, they would go to the nudist camps and stuff like that, but then when I saw, like, those charges, like, I'm not stupid. I can put the 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And then I think I was in the background for this because my phone disconnected. So how I had to identify victim one. So when you go into that room, like, they don't show you photos of the nasty stuff in full image, because that'd be illegal, of course. So what they do is they blur it out as much as they can and what's going on. But you can see face. And we'll just say that even as much as they tried to blur it out, like, there was just a clear image of her in that house, because I recognized the house.
Yeah.
I even gave them a full description of what the house looked like after they remodeled the house. Now we know where all that money was coming from. And I'll just say, wearing something that she should not have been wearing, to where he would have, and it was a still shot of a video. She was just wearing something that there was no reason why he'd have her in that.
Right.
Um,
Right. And so what you're really also, that you were kind of highlighting and sharing, he would sit here and get the photos and stuff of teenagers. So he's getting photos and stuff of you. He's getting photos and stuff of victim one. He's obviously trafficking victim one. He is participating in trafficking and solicitation of minors, like he did for Pocahontas. And like he did, which was the 15-year-old that was being abused. He's calling it a 15-year-old prostitute. And then he's sitting here also going where a mother is allowing her 8-year-old daughter to be victimized by
and
him.
that's just bad.
Yeah.
And like that. And like, don't get me wrong, like, I feel bad for anybody that's crossed paths with him, but even like, me and victim one, like, why, like, we look at each other the day of his plea hearing, and like, that was like, that goes beyond wanting to look at a 15 or 16-year-old girl, and like, that's bad enough. Don't get me wrong. Like that's not okay. I'm not by any means saying that is okay.
Yeah.
So I hope nobody thinks that, like, I'm saying that that's okay, because I'm not.
Right. When it goes to younger kids and you believe that the reason he would sit here and do that is because those are the images he really wanted, and that's why he was trading the images that he had of his victims to get images of even younger girls, who he took.
That is what he was doing.
For he could get videos also. That's why he was also taking a video of C, as referred to as C, that her mother didn't even know that happened to her, or that images were happening, because they just didn't have a clue that that even happened to her, or that he was videotaping or anything like that. and
Mm-mm.
and these were what he was trying to trade and get from people.
Right.
Yeah. How we doing, Miss Hope?
I'm okay. It's just,
Yes.
there's a million like him, unfortunately. Maybe that's what I'm crying about too. I mean, at least, okay, like at least he's locked up. But sad thing is there's a million more like him.
Well, yeah, there's the people who traded with him, which I believe I tracked down a few of them who got arrested while this was still sealed. That was a guy arrested in Texas and a guy arrested in Arkansas, which I will cover on the CSAM guys as I verify to make sure. I want to make sure that I'm correct before I would say any of that. So let's tell everybody what the end game happened here. Instead of getting bail and then also, or being out on bond, and then possibly only getting 3 years because you were brave, because you spoke up, because you helped other victims get their voices back and become survivors of this and able to speak up. He ended up with how many years from federal prison?
The judge said, he said, Mr. Howerton, due to your age and your health, he gave him 17 years.
So because of your bravery, because of your willingness to speak up and worried about the other victims that may be involved, and you speaking up, you also saved girls from his continuance, because he wasn't going to stop. He would still trade everything. He would still send everything.
And I didn't even know he was trading until they found that stuff in those boxes in the basement after I called. So I didn't. But he can't do it no more. So yeah, he can't do it no more. And can I say one more thing really quick, just about what a coward he is? So during a federal plea hearing, like versus, I guess, like a state or city plea hearing, the defendant says their piece first before all the evidence is brought out. And man, I wish there was a transcript of this. There's got to be somewhere. Boy, where all he talks is about losing his motorcycle and his home and his camper. Never once does he say sorry. And then at the end of it, when the lady, and boy, she was like a little tiny firecracker dynamite, at the end, she goes after him and says, not one time did he acknowledge anything that he's done to any of the three over here. And, that was, I almost feel bad for his stinking federal public defender for having to say, oh, Your Honor, well, he didn't know that they were going to be here. That judge didn't want to hear that. He said that didn't even matter. Didn't matter if he knew. Like, you coward. That just shows you he doesn't feel bad. He's never going to feel bad. I don't care if he feels bad, quite frankly.
No. So tell me, Hope, what would you say for a survivor out there that has this going on and they haven't told anyone?
I would tell them, like, are you saying, like, if they're actively in that kind of life?
If they're active, or if it's happened to them, not that long ago,
I would tell them that you need to be calling the cybercrime unit. You need to say something immediately, because like how I was, where I didn't think it was that big of a deal just because it was me. And I did not feel like a victim. Oh, it was just me. Y'all need to remember that, seriously, it gets worse. And these people, they do not care about you at all. And I do mean at all.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to maybe go tell your parents, or okay, fine. Just
Yeah.
call the cybercrime unit, or if you're local, go talk to Laura Smith. You could probably talk to her from probably anywhere in the country, because she's federal. Go talk to her. Go
Yeah.
leave an anonymous tip, and I promise that they will make you feel okay, to where you will give your full name and you won't get in trouble because you didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Sextortion and CSAM are crimes, and it is never the child's fault. Just
But
like,
can I say one more thing?
oh, absolutely. Keep going. Hope.
So when it was me, you know, naive me, 30, almost 31 years old now, at that time, bad self-esteem. You're a teenager, you have bad self-esteem. You are having these grown men who make you feel pretty and wanted and worth something. And it is so easy to fall into that trap. Um, and I promise they don't look at you like that. They don't look at you like that at all. They
And,
look at you just like an object.
right. Right. It is.
They're-
I think that I think Hope is just the example of that she decided when she saw this and she knew that he had done other stuff before and possibly to other potential people, and that her standing up made sure that this guy got way more prison time that he deserved to get. And using either from NetMec, get your information to the local police, and this information then goes to the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, who is what Laura Smith was for you. And she and these agents are used to going through the information. She sat down with you, she took time with you, she did several interviews and stuff with you, correct, Hope?
yeah, and she never made me feel bad, or it was never like, every time I would tell her, okay, just so you know, but like I took the alcohol, I was willing, I was not threatened. Like, she was the one that made it clear, like, and you're an adult now. If you look at, like little you, would you think this was okay? And I'm like, oh my God, no.
Right.
Uh, would you give a minor alcohol? Absolutely not.
Right.
So she was like, like you were a baby too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I started to learn Hope's story, and we talked a lot about this and going through it, all of it, I had said how much great respect that I had for her, and going through the story with her, this information, this example of thousands of cases, tens of thousands of cases of people sharing CSAM across our country, across multiple countries, different ways, using different apps, and basically grooming our children to do this. and then making them feel ashamed or committing sextortion against them. And again, the crimes are not the children's fault, and it's never the child's fault. And the adult should have never directed this to go in that direction. And I hope that hope story gives the inspiration for, if you know that you've seen somebody with CSAM or suspect it, speak up. If you are a victim that has had this happen to you, we encourage you to speak up. You can use the cybertipline.org or the 1-800-THE-LOST. And you will be in contact with somebody who will get your information. They will then turn around and they will share that with the local authorities, and they will reach out to you and help you through this. And I really hope, I share a lot of this information and statistics about CSAM. I share a lot of tools for parents to talk to their kids, and how to, support them through this and be available for them to talk to you. So I really hope that you guys will share this information. I encourage you to share the video. I encourage you to share the NetMech information. I encourage you to watch the videos I do about the guys who are committing CSAM, about the predators who are here, some at the high level that is sharing lots of images, and get that, because they're not doing it alone. They're sharing it to somebody and they're getting it from somebody. So,
yeah.
So Hope, again, as I told Hope, she is now my dear best friend forever. Hope, we call everybody here my justice warriors. And let me tell you that I know that these justice warriors are going to help spread the word and get the word out that this happens to young girls and young boys as well. And that we are going to, again, say how much love we have for you, show her those hearts again of how much love for the bravery and the respect and the survival that Hope has had and inspires others. And hopefully we can also encourage other young people to come forward and spread the word and bring forward justice to the people who have done this to them. So, Hope, is there anything else you would like to share with us, or?
Did anybody have any questions? I don't know if this is that kind of thing, but I can't see the comments.
No, I can read them to you as we get. Does anybody have any? Well, there's a million hearts going out. Let me say that. Lots of beautiful colors. They're all over the place. They love it. Are there any questions? People are saying thank you very much for coming on to Hope. They're very grateful for you being here. Oh, there's so many hearts. I can't even count the hearts.
That makes me feel better, because as I told you, like, I was so worried when I came on here, because that was always my thing. It's yes, when you're an adult, you're supposed to say no, and I know that, but when I first called, that was my thing, is I didn't know everything of the videos and photos that me being taken. That was my thing, until Laura Smith was like, "But you were a baby." I was like, "Oh my God!" But right. I was willing. I wasn't forced, and that's how they get you, though. That's how those people. Yeah.
But you were groomed and you were influenced to do it. And you were given alcohol, which you shouldn't have. And you had all this stuff. He's helping you hide from your parents that you're not at school or you're not at a school function. And so,
I was a full-blown alcoholic by the time I was 17 years old. Most students don't.
So
vodka in their water bottle.
One question is, do you know how the other victims are doing? Are they okay?
Actually, so the ones that I do know, I'm not sure who else was identified. Yes. one of them. Unfortunately, I think that she's always she's still trying to find her way. Um, and then one of them is just a genius. I mean, just a pure genius in college and is so young, and she's just a genius. And she is even adopted, and she's so young, and that's so not common for someone so young to be able to adopt. A- And they all of them just care for children. So none of them, not one of us,
Yeah.
ended up showing the uncare that he ever did for children. I'll say that much.
Yeah. So Paige says, tell her that we love her. So love from Paige.
Thank you, Paige.
Kelt says, understandably to be worried and nervous. You are brave and loved. Um, uh, Hope, you are an inspiration and a hero, says Jinx.
Oh,
Um, Hope, this is a safe space. Nothing but love from Mama Bear.
oh,
And people who blame the victim can go, oh, that's a bad word, so I can't say that.
I
Uh,
get your point though, and that
yeah, let's say
person's
that.
right.
Such a hero. Uh, Likely you were numbing yourself. No shame, lady. No shame. Hope. Thank you for everything from Polygraph. God love you with every cloud. We love and support you. Those
Oh,
are the comments going in. So I think you kind of shared so much detail and stuff with us, and we're glad he's where he belongs. And he said that it probably looked like he would die there, and good, right? He'll die in prison because of his age.
yeah, he's not. His health wasn't very good, and it was whatever.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I just wish, and I understand why they couldn't just say flat life, but in like a weird way, I'm just like, oh man, like I just wish she would have got flat life and just got very, very healthy all of a sudden and just lived a really long, healthy life because I don't think federal prison is very fun, but it is what it
yeah.
is.
Well, again, I appreciate you sharing the story. Paige also says you are a Justice Warrior family member now, so
Oh,
everybody's adopted you here, and I know that they will help spread the word. They will be open to talking to your children to make sure they're okay. Make sure to talk to them. Watch social media. Watch what's going on.
and
And
parents, like if you notice, like maybe an adult neighbor, even if they are married and have a wife, even if they seem elderly age, always be weary about if they want to buy your child stuff, or if they want to call your child's phone, or if they want to like spend a weird amount of time with your child or vice versa, especially when it comes to the buying of stuff.
yep,
So
absolutely.
listen to your gut, that's all.
Well, I appreciate you again, Hope, and I know we will talk again soon. And we appreciate you being here, and we love and support you.
Well, y'all have a good night.
All right. Well, you have a good one too.
All right, good night, guys.
All righty. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Well, everyone, I am so honored to have met Hope and been able to bring her story to all of you and what has gone on. And this is an important topic because CSAM is on the increase because of social media is on the increase with the kids. And that is what is mainly being used is social media in order to get your kids to them. It starts on apps. You saw he had Xbox One. everything. I can't tell you a site, a particular what app you should be watching. You should be watching all of them. They'll contact them through apps that kids are on and communicate with them, or have a way to do that, and then they get them and persuade them to go over to other apps that hide the communications and hide what's going on and hide what's going. We're going to be doing continue doing all of the people who are being arrested, the monsters in plain sight, the CSAM in your neighborhood. We're going to do more shows on that. We just had more busts that just happened recently, the last couple of days, a whole bunch of them. And let me tell you, it's hard to keep up with them, but we're going to, so that we can try to warn people about what techniques they're using, what's going on. But please share, please spread the word. Please let people know about this video. You know what? It was hard to read through the unredacted information, and it's hard to listen to this and produce a show to get ready for this. But when I did it and started reading through it, guess what? At least I'm only reading it. I don't have to live it. These kids are living it. And that's horrible. And we have got to spread the word amongst people, amongst parents, aunts, uncles, whomever. Let's be those people who can help these kids get out of this situation. So please, thank you for being here. Please, if you like this type of information and stuff for you, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Please share. Please tell others to come in to learn more about Hope, and that she is actually giving hope to others that they can survive this. So cybertipline.org and 1-800-THE-LOST is the information. I have the brochure about that too in my community post, if you would like to share that out as well. So we also have an Twitter account, and we have an Instagram account. So go like those. And thank you again for being here. Thank you for being a justice warrior. And thank you for making sure that justice is served daily. Good night, everybody.